Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Wednesday update for July the 5th. And we're tracking a very small area of high pressure. This is it here, out over the Tasman, a little bit into the Southern Ocean. This is about to briefly cross New Zealand following the big stormy stuff we've had since the end of last week. So we've got about 24 hours of settled weather, which means it's not going to be very windy and the skies should clear up for many places. Not everybody, still a bit of cloud around. But as it moves through, the lighter winds, the clearer skies means that we'll have colder weather coming up for the next couple of days and nights as a result of that high moving through. And the windy weather has actually helped keep temperatures up above average for the last couple of days in New Zealand, or at least average. There are very few places below average. Now over here, that is the next low pressure zone, and that is on its way eastwards. So here's the next 48 hours of rainfall for New Zealand. Not much on the way, just a few showers. We're talking about 0.1 to about 2 millimeters in there, maybe just a little bit more up there in the far north, but otherwise it is fairly dry. Those showers don't really start to build up again until the end of Friday. Over in Australia, just a few showers on the southern coastline, especially around Victoria and Tasmania. Your totals there getting up around about 50 to 70 millimeters of rain, and also just a couple of showers in the east. Otherwise, big and dry. So let's have a look at this windy weather that is moving away and the calm that is moving in. You can see the big stormy stuff out here, still gusting 100 k's an hour just off the Otago Peninsula there, but not as windy as it's been. The green means 20 to 30 k's an hour, so much lighter winds. This area in the middle, that's where the high is. That has no shading, that's just the sea. So that means light winds in the middle there, and that is what is moving through, bringing the frosts for inland areas or just a bit of a dip in the overnight temperatures. So here we are for Thursday. There is this high, centered actually over the lower South Island, but it connects up to this high pressure zone in the north. They're sort of merging together. Then we've got all this low pressure out to our west, and that is affecting the southern states of Australia, especially Adelaide, getting that cold front, active cold front coming through for you on Thursday, while the northwest winds will build up further to the east. By Friday, still very windy from Adelaide to Melbourne, and then that windy westerly tracks over the Tasman and reaches northern New Zealand. Now this is slow moving because of that area of high pressure, which acts like an invisible brick wall in the sky. So the winds come rushing up and then they kind of slow down as they push into high pressure. That means this wet weather will gradually build up across the day. It'll become cloudy, then a few showers, then it sort of starts to set in. There may also be a couple of heavier falls in there, but we're transitioning away from high air pressure to lower and lower air pressure, and that means more instability in the atmosphere. So you probably noticed in New Zealand a number of thunderstorm icons. Now, we've got a plan to actually remove that thunderstorm icon because, like many of you, I get really annoyed when I see that thunderstorm icon and we get no thunder. Now, some of you might love that because you hate thunder, but either way, it's a little frustrating. But the reason why you see it is because our long-range data, or our forecasting data, sees all this low pressure. 978 is quite low. So that low pressure stretches out, and the lower it goes, the more likely you are to have instability, and that does lead to thunderstorms. And if you don't get a thunderstorm, it can still lead to very heavy downpour that's just like one. So that's the weather we're going to be seeing starting from Saturday and lasting a few days, because this is low pressure and it is moving in. We've also got windy westerlies carrying on, those gale force winds between Adelaide and Melbourne. They don't really ease until Sunday when they start to move further up towards Sydney and Canberra in the middle there. Brisbane not as bad, but still that southerly breeze coming through. And it turns over in the Tasman to a westerly, so not too unsettled. Typical kind of westerly breeze. It will actually feel more like spring or autumn. That's my take, because you'll have kind of a mild day with the westerlies blowing out of Australia, and maybe the odd downpour, the odd thunderstorm, and then sunny spells in between, and the driest weather is out there to the east. Now next week, in comes those the big windy westerly turning northwesterly, and then later in the day, or maybe into Tuesday, it starts to get a bit colder, because next week Low pressure down here is going to send up another southerly, not as bad as the one we've just had. By the way, this does look very much like spring and autumn, but it also looks a little bit like the developing El Nino weather pattern, and they are very similar. Please check out our latest Climate Watch update. It's a monthly update tracking the trends of things like El Nino rainfall temperatures, and we just put that out this week, and it is saying we're likely to see more of this weather pattern coming up. And even though there is wet weather over the North Island, not good news for Waikato, which is saturated, but for the eastern side, much drier in the forecast for the next 10 days ahead, if not the next couple of months ahead. That's all from me. We'll see you again tomorrow with our next update.